Hello, it's Darren Rogan again. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. On today's video, we're going to be doing a quick dive into Capacitor. And welcome back. For anyone who isn't aware, Capacitor is a mobile phone cross-platform by the folks at Ionic. So I currently use Cordova to build some applications, which is a mobile technology deployed inside a mobile phone. It's been around for a long time. There are other competitors. You've got Flutter, React Native, etc., etc. But the simple fact that I can grab an existing web product and place it inside a phone means that I can actually have a web interface, a web application, an Android and an iOS from basically the same code base. That means I can have the maximum amount of people. So it's not perfect for everything, but we're going to have a look at the new competitor to Cordova being Capacitor. So this is Capacitor. It is basically an updated version of Cordova. So let's have a look to see what we can do here. So CD development, and then I'll make a directory. Let's call it cap for now. CD cap, and we are now going to install Capacitor because I don't have it installed. Okay, and then we're going to do npx cap init, app name. Let's call it demo. No, everyone calls it demo. I hate it being called demo. Let's call it Fred. Package ID. Oh yeah. So let's just say com.darren. How about if I could type com.darren Rogan Fred. Follow the workflow guide. Okay, the Capacitor project is ready to go. Add. Okay, so let's. So Android's pretty self-explanatory. That is the Android operating systems. Used to be in the room. All right, so where am I? Oh. np cap init. Did I do that? Sorry, npx cap init app name. Oh, I did do this. Fred. Yep. Okay. So then npx cap add iOS. Capacitor needs to run the root of a project. What does this mean? Oh, this looks like it's adding Capacitor in. Right. So I probably need to start over at Ionic and create a brand new Ionic project. As you can see, they have their native runtime bridge. So let's just say, let's start an app. I've been using Ionic for a little while, so I probably know a bit more about Ionic. What? No. Prefer to install manually. Yeah. I'm pretty certain I have Ionic, but let's just install Ionic, the update, because it'll replace the one that's previously installed with the most recent version, probably. Everything's basically done through JavaScript at the minute, so we're using npm, which is the Node package manager, even though we're not really using Node, but it's the primary package manager. Okay, so let's do Ionic start. Let's call it Fred as the name of the app, and we'll use the tab starter project as well. Okay, so what would this be? I'm going to do an Angular project. I do know Angular and React, but I prefer Angular. I have some other Angular bits, and this first version will have both Android and iOS, and it's already a Cordova Angular app, Ionic app, so we'll probably do that in case I want to pull over some code. So let's just try that one out first. I'll also check out React at some point, but then I'll probably have a look at it when I play with React Native. But for now, let's just try out Capacitor. Hurry up and wait, huh? Downloading the stuff. Alright, free Iconic, learn, know the docs, explore the UI components. So the plan for now, so these are the UI components. Ionic is a Angular framework generally, but they got React now too, which is specialized components designed for web interfaces. So that specialty focus is probably what's there, but it can be deployed on the web, and I have deployed it on the web before, where we've started one project and then decided that we needed to move it to some web. So then I will open my code editor of choice, and I will be using Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a free text editor from Microsoft, but I quite like it. I think it's pretty good for what we need. Okay, so now we have an app. We have a default app. I think that's been run for us. If I look at the terminal, in adding the documents, pretty certain it probably would have done that. But let's just do it again to be sure. It shouldn't make a difference running it a second time. Could not find a HTTP directory yet. Okay, so let's switch back to Ionic. We do the start, change into it, and then do Ionic serve. So I'm already in the directory, so Ionic serve, and it will now run the JavaScript. And this is this base project, which is a mobile focused JavaScript Angular framework. As you can see, it's compiling the code. Ionic Angular, as you can see, it's all Angular up to this point, and then they start loading their own Angular stuff. So you can actually use some of this without any Ionic components. And as you can see, we have this basic app with 3 tabs, which is fine for now. And this is normal from a mobile phone perspective, where we have the tabs along the bottom from a design pattern. And then we could put content in each of those. So let's just jump into those. As you can see here, here's the tabs. This is the writer for the tabs, tab 1. So if we make a change in tab 1, let's say tab 1 is the best. And then we do save, and we should see this refresh here. And tabs 1 is, oh, it's the title I changed, sorry. This is the Ion title. So now if I refresh, no, why is that not there? Oh, what icon title, tab. So this is the title bar up here, is this one, title bar. Let's see it there. And we'll see that kick in there. So you can see the changes just been made. If you want to know more about any of these components and tabs, you can actually go through into the components that it discusses, these UI components, and it will then go through all of the different parts, titles, menus, scrolls, writing. So you can go through in a lot more detail, but you can see here are the tabs that we're currently doing, and there's the example of the different tabs. They have the tab buttons. So this is Angular. If you prefer to use a different vanilla JavaScript, React, Stencil, or Vue, you have those different options. And then how to use the writer. So I'm currently using the Angular writer, so this is going to be the Angular stuff. So now we have a functioning application. We can change the icons. It does come with a set of icons out of the box, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's just get something. As you can see, here's the Ion icons. So all of these icons come in the framework and are sort of automatically plugged in, so you can use these as starting before moving on to something else. Okay, and they have a couple of different versions as well: filled, sharp, and outline. So you can use them as you want. You can use them outside of the project, but there are lots of different icons if you don't want these ones. I might have to change the direction of this camera because I've noticed I've got the camera slightly above the monitor here, but when I'm coding I'm looking down, and it probably isn't the best. But anyway, I digress. Let's move back to here. So we have capacitor, cap init. Let's just do that one again. We're in the project. I will stop the project. Cap init. I've not done that. Fred. Whoops. That'll do. And now I will do the cap adds because I think I was just in the wrong folder. I needed to be in the to Android. There's no ... Yeah, I need to do Ionic. Bill. Oh, will that put it in the dist folder or the www folder? It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. That's typical. Let's go through. Introduction. I probably should have read this. Yes. It's a spiritual successor. Yeah. Compatible. Requirements iOS. I'm pretty certain that's all good to go. My Android I think is not good to go, but let's see. Adding to an existing. Alright, npm add init and then add. Why isn't that working? What did I do? Have I made a mistake by creating two entries into one? Webdir. Is there now? Maybe I just need to run the build. So, add Android. Okay, that seems to be it. I just had to run the Ionic build to create the www. So logically, it takes what's in the source folder here, in this source folder here, and it sort of compiles, merges the code together to create this www folder, which is generally used for serving. So www is like think of the web, World Wide Web, and then that is then used as the source folder for the files that run on the phone. So any compilation, any merging of files. So think of it as the runtime. So we have the build time, the JavaScript, TypeScript, and then it gets compiled and minified, etc. Pardon me, to the www folder, and then that is running. All right, so I'm going to add iOS. Okay, what can we do here? Error running. Ooh, updating iOS native patent. All right, I need to do pod install. Ruby. Have I not got Ruby installed? I do. 2.6. Why is it trying to run 3.1? Let's go back to have a look at capacitor required dependencies. Let's have a look at these. iOS. Let's do the sudo gem install Coco pods. I probably have done this before. I'll type in my password, hopefully correctly. Yeah. So Coco pods is installing, and I'm pretty certain I have an up-to-date Xcode. I do, because I have other Xcode projects. So that should be okay. It's probably just the Coco pods So Coco Pods is a more like a community library thing. So Coco used to be like words for iOS, and Coco Pods is like a library system that's used to bundle up code that can be reused in an open source. A bit like you've seen me use Node Package Manager. So it's a similar sort of thing. Coco Pods is like a bunch of libraries for Apple products. Alrighty, so let's try this again. Add iOS. Add a new platform and remove iOS and run this command again. Okay, so rm-rf, which is remove recursively and force on iOS. Okay, so it will remove iOS and everything below it, and it will force. So it should be gone. ls list long. It's gone. So let's add it again. Okay, so it looks like it's adding, and it is updating the native dependencies. Okay, so now it says I can do npx cap open iOS. Opening Xcode workspace. Okay, this is interesting. So it looks like it is kicked it over to Xcode. The app looks like it's should be okay to run. We're just waiting for Xcode to finish indexing the files. So I don't actually have my phone. Well, actually, I won't say actually again because that was 3 times in a minute. But I normally have run on my device. I have my device here in my pocket. Primarily use an iPhone myself. I ignore those messages. But I will use the simulator today so that we can have something pop up. All right, so it says the app is ready. Now, if I click on the app here, you'll see here, oh yeah, the second time I forgot to put the bundle name in. So you can see there's the display name, here's the bundle identifier. It goes in here, also will go into the unique identification of this application, so that when you do updates, it knows this bundle identifier is my application. So we'll see from there. iOS, Android, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's hit play and see if we can get an app. I should have put a timer on to see how quickly it would be before I could have an app built. Now, I know that this app is not exactly interesting at this point. Oh, what a second generation. iOS 13.6. Okay. Let's see. I really wish I could get much more RAM in these laptops. I'm running on a MacBook Pro at the minute, and it's got plenty of RAM, sort of. About this Mac, it has got 32 gigs of RAM. You can see I can never have enough. So here's the splash screen, as you can see, kicking in. We can replace this splash screen with our own splash screen, and you can see down here that the code is starting to fire off. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just bring that back on. So you can see down here, look, see there's the splash screen, install splash bar. So these are the different sort of components, and look, the app is kicked in, and tab 1 is the best. There we go. We have a application on a phone within the space of a few minutes. Now if we take this and we switch back to Ionic, the components, these components, we have a lot of stuff in here. All right, so we have input fields, text fields, etc. So we don't necessarily have to stay with these ones, but we have items, there's cards, there's a whole bunch of design components which are targeted primarily to mobile phone UI. So you'll see a lot of these are full table width. You don't get a lot of column stuff because this is the primary focus. So you can have a look through here to determine what is it that we want our application to do. But I think we should move one step further and have a look at, so we've done using with Ionics. We've built our application. Oh, see, it actually says to do that. Creates a www, which can be automatically configured. That was the step we were missing at the start. It would help if I read things. And you can sync your app with Capacitor. Every time you do a build, you need to copy those changes. Okay, so after you do a build, you have to run cap copy. That's interesting. And we can use the Capacitor Starting out with capacitor, I immediately check out this guide. Page not found. Okay. Right, let's go next. What's next? Develop your web app. We've done that. We've done that. Update. Install really cool program. Okay, that's how we install a program. What program? I wonder what plugin we should do first. Use your app, name the project, press the web apps, utilities. Camera. Let's. Okay, so here we are in the Capacitor API. Let's say that we want. Oh, the camera's not going to be great. The geolocation should work. Okay, let's have a look at the geolocation. So Android apps. Here is an example. Okay. Watch position. So this is a. It's going to import these plugins. So let's grab these plugins. Let's go to our tabs in our source app. Let's go to tab 2 and we'll go to the component of tab 2 and you can see it's importing the components. Let me add the capacitor core plugins. Okay, and from the plugins I will use geolocation. So if you want to use more than one plugin, you would add additional plugins here, blah 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 blah, depending on which plugin you want. So I can then say add these two functions into my class. Async get current position, it will log that out, and watch position. Okay. So this constant wait. I don't know what that's doing, mind you. It's just doing a wait position. Oh, what's it doing with that? It's doing nothing. Okay. Okay, I understand now. So these are some parameters being passed into the watch position method, and then this callback, this piece of code, is going to be executed once the watch position has been fired, and it's going to either populate the position or it's going to populate the error. But we'll have to wait and see. But let's do this one, coordinates. Okay, let's try to show these coordinates on screen quickly. It's just header, title, App Explorer page in the component, App Explorer container. I don't know what that is. I haven't looked at that component itself. Let's see what coordinates look like. And if I do that, and I say async. Okay, so let's add a button, an aref. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter what we add. Let's just add. We can add anything. We can always use the onClick event. OnClick we want to call get position, and we can just say what's my position. I'll just do what's my pause for now. Alright, let's have a look. So if I do I need to come back and I need to do Ionic build. Let's jump back to the capacitor. And what did it say? Let's just add another page, keep that, and I'll go back a couple of pages because it did say something about workflow. Alright, so you need the Ionic build again and then npx cap copy. Okay. So that build should have completed, and cap copy. Alright, so does that mean the simulator is updated? Let's put on tab 2. It doesn't look like it. Alright, let's go into tab 2. That's the Explore Component pane. I'm on header, content, page 2. Oops. I haven't used these components in a very long time, so I don't actually remember how they work. And I'm really working through the tool. So Ionic build. I suspect I'll have to, that it won't auto update on the simulator, but it says that it will. Let's see. Ionic build, copy your to device or simulator. Copy. Alright, I have to do. Capacitor uses native IDEs to build. In some cases. Right, okay. So, we do cap copy. And then I'll do cap update. We'll see if this works. Oh, it seems to be the plugins themselves. Okay. So, tab 1, tab 2. Yeah, that didn't work. I just killed it. I'm going to go back to this editor here. And I will kill you too. Yes, that will stop the app. Alright, so I've done the build, I do the copy. What was the last stuff I did? Let's have a look at the commands I previously wrote using the history command. So I did add OpenIOS. Cap OpenIOS. Alright. So now the app is loading. And then we should be able to run it again. Okay. So the simulator comes with Xcode. I'm building on a Mac, so you just download from the App Store. App 2, here we go. So here's App 2, page, blah, blah, blah. The only thing is I do seem to be missing the contents here. So what's this App Explore content? If I move that, cut, and put it there, it should still render. One click. So capital C, one click. Yeah, I could just make this an aref. It would actually look better if it's an aref, even though I don't need to put the ref in. And let's see. Ionic build. I hope I'm able to turn this on so it can continues to build in the background and I don't have to like stop and run these commands one after the other, because that would be a real drag in productivity to have to go through a slow build cycle like this. But this is the very first time I've used Capacitor. It looks okay. Like it looks like we're getting there. I'm not sure if I have to run that update. I think I only have to run it if I do the plugins. Alright, so let's change there. Let's try this again. Page 2. Alright, I'm gonna have to have a look at Ionic to see what is this App Explore container. So a search, I don't know what that is. It's probably something to do with the starter project, which I haven't read, because that's what you do, you know, you just jump in, have a play, see what's what. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But you know, take it with a grain of salt. There's the icons. It's a bit annoying. Alright, let me just switch over to Ionic Serve, because irrespective of Ionic Serve continually runs the web version, so some of the plugins won't work, but it will run this again. And then that allows me to have a little bit more of a look into what's happening. H2. Okay, so where the hell is this Explore UI Components coming from? Oh, it's a component in here. Oh, that explains a lot. Right. So this App Explorer component is a definitive component which has been made here, ID container. So I don't necessarily want to use this anymore. So it's fine there. But let's just, you do normally need a container to put stuff in. So let's just drop these two. Yeah. Strong. As you can see here, he's a P and an A ref and a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just leave that. And we'll put name. Let's just make a name parameter here. Name. And we will say WIP, work in progress. Alright. Okay, work in progress. What's wrong with that? Okay. Work in progress. Page 2. Here we go. Where's my pause? And then we still have the other, but if we look here at this Explore, we'll probably see that it has stylings applied to it, which you can see in here. So this component, think of it as a logical box, a logical thing. Now if we come back here for a second, you'll see each one of these is going to be, let's look at a card. A card's a good visual one to understand. This is a card. That is a component, and that component can be reused in lots of different places. And you can build your own components, and you can create on top of other components. These are just a bunch of handy ones. Sometimes I use the material components, and I try to build my own components where possible so I can reuse them. So now we've come back to realize the issue was that they were not inside an appropriate container with an ID. I'll just drop that off. I don't need that. So now we figured that bit out. Let's see what happens when, let's do a break line here, and I'll do a break line here. Now, I wouldn't normally do break lines. I would normally style it, put it inside classes, and then use some sort of styling language like a CSS or Sass to correctly put them in location. But for now, we're just going to want them on different lines. So if I switch back now to the app, go to tab 2, oops, click on tab 2, successfully compiled, refresh, tab 3, tab 2, okay, I must have a broken tab 2, have I? Console, here we go. Template expecting closing tag, right? I have, looks like I have. So what have I done? Yep, I've left the closing tag, but I deleted the first tag. So it was correctly not able to read the HTML. So there we go. Right, that's not really going to do anything here, I don't think. On get position is not defined in onClick. Now, why is that the case? That function get position is here. Why can't you call that? Let's just put a console.log to determine if it can't see this, or so I should expect a. Alright, so that's saying on current position. So what did I do? I've done the binding incorrect is what I've done. So let's just go to one of the components because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Okay, actually let's just go Ionic bind on click, because that's basically the issue. I just want to bind an on click. Well, here's a button. I can just use the button, I suppose. For now, I'm happy with the button. This is the 3 button. Okay. Oh yeah, these are the different types of buttons you can have. Advanced, icon button, colors, outlines, designs, and then we can just that is the correct syntax. for Angular, and I have used the wrong syntax, which I'm doing HTML bind, which is silly. So that is a binding, and this is the reality. You make silly mistakes all the time. Click, there we go, GGG. Although I'm not expecting it to work because, oh look, we did get the coordinates. The coordinates were retrieved. Nice. So you can see it's working in the web using this component. Now I just want to make sure I get it displaying on the screen. Coordinates. Async constant. Right. So let's do coordinates display. Give it a blank value for now, because this is a coordinate object and I just want to have a string here. So I'm just going to go coordinates display, get position. Let's have a look at what get position does. Get current position. Get current position returns a promise of a geolocation position. And the geolocation position has coordinates and timestamps. And this should be an any, and that will be a timestamp. Okay, so I'm expecting coordinates to come back equals coordinates. Can't type. Coordinates dot chords. Oh, it's nice that I was able to pick it up. Dot, so it knows. It's going to say, I don't like this. It's a heading. Alright, let's just get that longitude for now. Latitude, that will do. And I will just make it a string basically. What's wrong here? This dot string is not access. It doesn't like. Typescript doesn't like it. And what's wrong now? You'll be fine, I think. And then this display, which is a string, because this will bring back an object. So we normally need to convert that object or decorate that object into something which is displayable. Because you can't really dump straight JSON into a web page. Well, you generally wouldn't. Okay, let's have a look at this. So I think that's all refreshed. Get my position. GGG current. And here we go. There it is right there. Perfect. Now, oh, wrong button. So let's flick back to the terminal. And I've done Ionic serve. Let's do an Ionic build. That will create the www folder. Okay. We didn't add any projects, so, and we already have Xcode running. So once that's finished, sub process. Oh, it doesn't like it. Type string is not assignable. Sometimes the Typescript errors are annoying. It's fine, it's fine. No quick fixes. Coordinates to latitude. What's wrong with this? I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. Make a problem. What does that error actually mean? Let's have a look. Let's just do it in a string. Okay. Does that go away now? string. So lat equals coordinates display is a string lat to be confirmed. Because I normally would put these up here inside of the export. Nope. That is correct. So if I take that out, does it go away? Oh, I see my mistake. After taking that away, it's because I need to say it's a string and that's the value. And then this will probably say, oh, I can guess that, but let's just quick fix type true inferred, remove type annotation. Let's just remove that line, okay? And the same here, we want it to be a string and we're going to set it a default value. I'm just going to tell the linter, it's fine, you're annoying me somewhere else. So it was not accepting it as a generic string, it was setting it as a definitive type, as in here, export type. So it was a type of a blank string, which is the reason it was complaining. So I've now defined these variables in this class as a string and given them a default value. And here, once the coordinates have come back, as the await will wait for the promise, I'm assuming it's going to be successful. There's no error handling. Then I'm going to set the display string to be the lat equals, and then just spell the lat out for now and dump the rest. Okay, so let's just test this in the web first. We're not running on the web, so we'll do Ionic serve. Oops. Ionic serve. Boom, boom, boom. Come on. And there we go. There's tab 1. Let's look over to tab 2. There we go. Work in progress. Lat BTC. There's the 2 default values. That's my position. Normally we'd put like a loader or something in there that shows, and as we can see, latitude is, there you go, minus 227, because I am on the Gold Coast of Australia. Okay, so now that that is working, let's see if it's working on the mobile, because if that is it, that is basically the end of the video. That is a mobile phone application from Capacitor and Ionic from scratch. In, I don't know how long I've been doing this video, 10 minutes maybe, 15. So let's look at the history again. Ionic, cap open iOS. Oh, I've already got Xcode still open. There's the simulator, I'll turn that off. And it should have refreshed this project. I'll just, to be certain, run the cap. I don't think I need to do this. Okay, and then we will run the app in the simulator again. And we should see it using the components in the device. Splash screens. So I'm actually going to run through how to do a bunch of this in an application. But for today, this is old. Okay, so that's not that. That's not that. Cap copy, that's what I forgot to do. NX cap copy. Right, because it copies the web assets from the www into the appropriate directory in the bit. Oh, okay, okay. Didn't know it did that. That might be better actually. Xcode. So that's what I was missing. I was missing that. I'm expecting this to be the new app. This is capacitor logo. Splash screen, we'd put our own one in. And now tab 1, tab 2. You can see those texts are there. What's my position? Can you, and as I see at that point, now it's requesting, which I like. I like that it asks when you want to use the location services, so you're not bombarded at the start with allow this, and you're like, I don't know what you want this for. I don't know if I'll give it to you. And then a lot of users don't know how to go back into their app store and actually find these, how to turn them on. So let's do while using app. Hopefully I didn't talk too long. It should access. Let's do it again. To native, you can see it looks like it's GG, so it's called the function. Operator couldn't be completed. Do I need to turn a location on? Maybe location wasn't the best thing to do. I know there's a way in the simulator that you set, because I've done it before. Set the location, trigger, there we go, location, see none. Alright, location, let's say we are at Apple. Okay, let's try this again. So the reason it failed the first time was because it's a simulator, it didn't actually have a location. Because I had to tell it to fake a location, because as a simulator, it doesn't actually have those devices. But if that was on device, that would have given you your actual location, which is great. So now we know that we can quite easily get someone's GPS and source where they are. Now, why is this beneficial? Well, a lot of services these days have some sort of location service built into it. Like you don't really care about a cafe that's 100 kilometers, away at the end of the day. You're just not going to go that far. You want something that's within a travelable distance. So location is beneficial when we're trying to determine results with context to you. And we'll talk about that a bit more in another video. So this is it for this video. I hope that you've enjoyed us taking Capacitor for a spin. It's the first time I've ever used it. As you've seen, I made a few mistakes, but it does show what you could do if you have a level of technical ability, that you would be able to use these components to build an MVP or something to better validate the idea that you're working with. So that is a goodbye from me, Darren Rogan. I hope to show you what it's really like as a solo bootstrapper who's got another full-time job. Can I launch products on the internet that make money? You'll have to follow me to find out. Then hit the subscribe button and join me on my journey.